Hello, hello, hello! Welcome to another episode of the Crispy Compact Communiqué. I got to remember to unmute my mic after the intro video. There we go. We're ready to roll. I'm Rich Liebig.
And I'm Michael Costanzo.
Oh man, and here we go. Another week of the
Another
Crispy
one.
Compact Communiqué. Um, you know, thank God we
Sometimes, yeah,
have this wonderful virtual way of doing the podcast so that we still get an episode to you every week. But unfortunately, yeah, we're remote again due to that wonderful disease that shall not be named.
that's right.
But nevertheless, here we go, ready to hit you with some interesting topics in sports, entertainment, and odd news. Let us be the crispy noodle in your vegetarian salad of life and boring news. Before we get into those three subjects and all the news that we have ready to talk about on this virtual podcast stream, Mikey, how you doing over there in Marvel Land? It looks like on the video feed.
I'm doing good. That's right. On the video feed, you can see I have this fun background of all the different Marvel characters. That's because we have a lot of Marvel news to get to, but that's later in the show. Mostly, my time has been taken up with watching the Olympics, though.
Yeah, you're
We
a
don't.
big Olympics guy, aren't you?
I love the Olympics. Specifically, I love becoming a crash course expert in random sports over the course of like 7 days and then never watching them again for 4 straight years. I've learned so much about skateboarding, surfing, three versus three basketball, handball. Everybody's like, oh, watch soccer and basketball. I'm like, okay, but you can watch that anytime. I want to watch the weird sports you only see every 4 years. I love it. It's so cool.
Well, three
Um,
versus three basketball, that was going to be a league for a little bit. I think Allen Iverson was going to be like a
they should do it.
contributor, and
They
a
should
couple
do
of
it.
other players were going to try and start it up. Wonder whatever happened to that. Bring that
I
back
don't
up.
know. It seems fun because, it seems to move faster than regular basketball because
Yeah.
you're only dealing with a partial court. And it's almost like backyard basketball where, you have to if you get the rebound, you got to bring it back outside the 2 point line in three versus three basketball before you can try to shoot. So it's just fun. It's just constant movement, constant action. But I would also say take a look at the skateboarding competitions. Those are a lot of fun
Oh yeah.
to
Are
watch as
you a
well.
big
Yeah.
skateboarding fan?
When I was younger, I fancied myself that I was going to become some kind of skateboarder. I love the Tony Hawk games,
Yeah, you're big Tony Hawk 1 and 2.
but one and two, and even three and
Oh.
underground. But then me and my brother JB, we bought a skateboard because this is the first time either of us had tried it, and we're like, we're just gonna buy one and we're gonna share it. I got on that thing, immediately busted ass, like within 10 seconds, and I'm like, you know what? I think I'm gonna stick to the video game version, and that's kind of been my legacy from that point forward. Whenever given an option between outside thing or video game,
Video game.
I pick video game. Yeah.
Very good. You got to
Yeah.
talk to Corey Annotato from the Game Show Marathon. He's a huge Tony Hawk Pro Skater fan.
Oh man, those were fantastic games.
Yeah,
Like no lie, they were really high quality games.
there you go.
But
So,
anyway, that's what I've been doing, checking out the Olympics. The US is number one in total medals, but sadly we're like I think it's sixth or seventh in gold. So
no, do the stat that makes America look good.
all the US stations they always say total medals. Everywhere else is like gold medals.
Yeah, no, boo. This is
Yeah.
America.
This is America. We count total medals. That's
Yeah,
right.
take
In which
that.
case we're number one.
Yes.
But what have you been up to recently?
Yeah, so I'm just kind of hanging around the house. And we had a problem with our refrigerator.
Uh-oh.
And this is
Oh
not a
no.
joke. This is not like, is your refrigerator running? Go catch it. No. We have a thing where our circulation, the water circulation in the refrigerator is getting clogged up.
Oh no.
Like like it's actually like making ice inside of the circulation system.
That's not good.
So it's not like the worst thing in the world, but it's like an issue we're gonna have to address. So
Right.
Rachel and I, our goal has been like we are going through the refrigerator and we're trying to consume as much as we can directly from the refrigerator because at some point we have to like just turn the refrigerator off and let everything melt in the
Oh,
circulation system.
jeez.
So that leads me to something you noticed during the show before we did the pre-show. I'm drinking because I have to go through the wine that's in our refrigerator.
Oh, is that the excuse, right? You're just trying to the bottle's open, you got to drink it.
That's right.
You you have the entire bottle, Jesus.
What else are we gonna do? It's not like I have to drive to see you for the podcast.
That's true. Hey, one of the benefits of virtual is you can drink and podcast. This is going to be an inadvertent drunk podcast, but it's only one person getting
Whoops.
drunk.
Whoops. Here we go. Buckle up, everybody. Here we
Oh
go.
my God. Do you remember that one time only where we attempted to do a drunk podcast? That
Yeah.
was forever ago.
Yeah. That. It was fun,
Yeah.
and I'll leave it at
Okay.
that.
Fans will have to dig back through the old episodes to find it.
Yeah. But yeah, so we had that fun thing to deal with. Perks of being, the fun times you have being a homeowner, just random stuff like that happens. So,
Sounds like a joy.
yeah. So that's our mission is like we are trying to raid the refrigerator and empty it of its contents until
Good old fashioned fridge purge, but you get to eat and drink everything instead of just throw it away.
yeah. So we're in the middle of doing that. And I'll leave it there because there are some topics we got to get to. So let's jump into the topics while I'm somewhat sane, and let's go into some sports news. Well, actually, this topic might make me insane.
You better
Um,
bust that bottle back out
hey, that's what I
because you
got. I got it right here. I got
you're
it.
gonna need it for this headline. The Phillies are not doing so well,
No,
apparently.
we were waiting for the shoe to drop on this because the Phillies were doing outrageously good. It was bizarre. I felt like we were in
Yeah.
bizarro world. Like this is not supposed to happen to a Philadelphia team.
For the
They
longest time, yeah, they were the best team,
yeah,
right?
but they
For
were
like
off.
a few months.
But they were off to like a ridiculous pace.
Yeah,
At one point, their winning percentage was like 700, which is the,
that's
even
unheard
in
of.
baseball. That's ridiculous. That's supposed to be impossible. So we all knew like, okay, hold your horses. This is not going to last. This is Philadelphia. There's
Yeah.
the shoe's going to drop at some point, and apparently it has recently. Unfortunately, today, recording this podcast, the Phillies got swept by the Yankees, which is not a good sign. Then they also lost 2 out of 3 to the Cleveland Guardians. So right there, they've already lost 5 out of 6, but altogether now they've lost 11 out of their last 15 games. And in a
Ooh.
competitive NL East, it's not looking like an insurmountable lead anymore that they have over the division. So I don't know, just general reactions, Mike. Just the
I mean,
typical, just like of course Philadelphia, we just can't have a sustained
yeah,
season
I,
of
I mean,
good.
it's the Philadelphia thing, obviously, that there had to be another shoe, right? But also just in general, you don't want to peak too early. We talk about this in sports all the time. If you get hot super early, it's hard to sustain that because the pressure builds, the expectations build, and just the wear and tear of the season. You want to save your best ball for the end of the season. So we might be seeing a situation here. I mean, 11 to 15 is pretty shocking. If it had been something like what, like 8 or 9, maybe you're like, okay, they had a few bad breaks there, but it's almost breaking even. But 11 to 15, that's a staggering amount of losses in a very short span of time. So I don't know. They'll probably come out of this okay, but does it bode well for sustainability? That I think is the bigger issue.
Yeah, and to link it back to football because I know that's what
That's my forte.
you'll
Yep.
connect with. There's definitely something to be said about a win in December versus a win in September.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
absolutely. A win in September is like you stumbled backwards into it because both teams are rusty. A win in December is you're putting an exclamation point against, other teams that are looking to make a playoff berth. And that's what we're in now. We're in I guess technically the back half of the season, right?
Yeah, we're after the
The
All-Star
ba-
break. Yeah, this
right,
is the
of the
second half
baseball
of the
season.
season.
So this is when you want to start putting your big stamps on some of those tougher teams, like the Yankees, right? You want to make a statement there, and you go out and you get swept. You can't even get one. That's not good. That's bad for the vibes. That's bad for everybody. That's not, yeah, just not good.
Yeah. On the flip side, the trade deadline was recently, and the Phillies traded for a left-handed hitter and a potential closer, which they actually that I think that is one of their weaknesses is their relief pitching. That's really what has been costing them some of these games recently. So I mean, they have the front office did try and address some of the issues as we hit the trade deadline. But the question is it going to be enough in the middle of the season, right in the nick of time? It's there's going to
I
be a
feel like it's
lot
always
of
tough.
there's going to be a lot of pressure in the next couple weeks for the Phillies to regain their balance and win games
Yeah.
again. Because if they still put up some of these clunkers, I don't know. I think teams are going to smell blood in the water.
Yeah, and
The
I think
Met
it's really tough
and out of
to
all the
plug
teams, the
those.
Mets are on the upswing.
Yeah,
I,
yeah, no, and that's not good. But I think it's sometimes tough to plug those holes with those late season trades. I mean, yes, we're addressing areas of need, but almost 2/3 of the way through the season, are these guys going to be able to get up to speed and adapt quickly enough? I guess that's more of a concern in something like football than baseball, but I think there's still, it's not sometimes it can work out, but sometimes it's just putting a band-aid on a wound.
Yeah. So unfortunately, in the city of brotherly love, there is some concern with this lineup here, and it's very frustrating. And uh, I don't know. I could just it feels like the Eagles
Yeah,
again. Eagles did the same thing, starting off what was it 10-1, and then just
10-1. Yeah.
everything went to hell. Like what is
Well,
happening?
there's still a
Stop
lot of
this.
there's still a lot of season to play for the Phillies. So we'll see if this is just a little losing streak or if it's a sign of a larger issue. I'm hoping it's the little losing streak rather than a, a precursor of things to come.
Yeah, I don't think Philadelphia can handle two major sports teams having epic collapses.
Oh no, we would riot in the streets.
Yeah. So, unfortunately, yeah, not looking good for the once promising Philadelphia Phillies at this point. But maybe that would be the wake up call. We shall find out. All right, let's get to football because, yeah, football's right around the corner. The Hall of Fame game is this Thursday. Mike,
Really? Oh
get
my God, I
ready.
didn't realize it was that. Oh
Yeah,
yeah, that's because yes, it is the end of the month. Oh my God, I didn't realize that. Well,
get your
there's
bills out. Uh oh.
yeah. But there's two players who are really looking forward to the start of the season because they just inked big new deals. We're talking, of course, about quarterbacks Jordan Love and Tua Tagovailoa signing massive contract extensions, just absolutely huge deals. Tua gets a deal 4 years, $212.5 million. That's $53.1 million per year, $166 million guaranteed. And it's the largest contract in Dolphins history. But the biggest news is Jordan Love, Green Bay quarterback, 4 years, $220 million. That's $55 million a year, $160 million guaranteed, and a $75 million bonus,
Woo!
which is the biggest in NFL history and puts him at the top of the pack, tied with, I think it's Trevor Lawrence, and I can't remember who else off the top of my head as the highest paid quarterback in the league. Rich, just initial gut reactions to these deals. I mean, these are
Oof.
two monstrous deals, and we always talk about how big these quarterback deals are, and you always say, it's the market value. But when you look at these two guys, are these two guys at the same level as some of those other top paid quarterbacks?
Oh yeah, I mean, let me start with Jordan Love. I think Jordan Love is probably more. It's probably easier to defend.
Okay.
Jordan Love, the Packers know who he is at this point. They have seen him grow and develop. Throughout his rookie contract, he had to sit 3 years behind Aaron Rodgers.
He is following the Aaron Rodgers track.
Yeah. So I think at this point the Packers know who he is, and they believe he's got the potential to be the next Aaron Rodgers and the next Brett Favre. And I mean, look, thank God for the Packers and Jordan Love. I don't think you're as much of a Packers fan, but I'm a huge Packers fan after they demolished the Cowboys last season in the playoffs. Pay that man. That was amazing. That was a brilliant
Yeah.
for his first playoff game ever. He just demolished in that game and did what he needed to do to knock the
Yeah.
Cowboys out.
Jordan Love showed a lot of poise and composure. But also, to be clear, I was not a Packers fan when Rodgers was there. They always frustrated me, but with Jordan Love, he really did put that team on his back and showed everyone and quieted a lot of doubters. So
Yeah.
I don't know if he's $220 million worth of quarterback, but of
But
the two,
the
I think where we're
Packers,
getting at here is that of the
the
two, he's a little bit more deserving.
well, at least from the point of view from the front office of the Packers, they
Okay.
they think he's the franchise quarterback. He's going to be
Okay.
the leader of the team for the seasons to come. So if that is your concrete belief and you can't be swayed from it, then that's the going market rate for a franchise quarterback. Then it makes sense. I mean, if you
But
want to
I
debate
know,
whether or not he's not the quarterback, that's the argument you
right.
need to have. But in terms of what their front office believes, obviously, and what the mojo is, that's just the nature of the beast. You got to give them that kind of money. So I think that's more defensive. I think that's more defendable.
Okay.
You can. I feel like you got a stronger position there. Tua is a little risky.
Because I
This
know you've not been the biggest fan of Tua in recent years.
he's just so streaky.
So
Like,
here's the thing with these two guys is Jordan Love showed both these guys ended up in similar positions in terms of record and things, but Jordan Love ended up winning that playoff game, and he did it with, I think, less talent around him than Tua was doing it with. I mean, he had who? Tyreek Hill,
yeah.
Jalen Waddle. I mean, an absolutely stacked offensive
Tyreek Hill
weapons.
recently named the best wide receiver by Madden. So
Yeah.
that's a pretty big weapon to have.
I mean, that does certainly help. I don't think it's fair to take too much away from Tua because he still has to execute. You know, you could have a quarterback with good wide receivers and still not be able to read the defense and actually make the throws. Um, but I know you're not the biggest fan of him. So
I
how does
just
this contract sit with you
I
from that perspective?
well, I think this is definitely a risky contract
Okay.
because I feel like this. If both of these contracts blow up, I feel the Jordan Love contract is a little more redeemable. The Tua contract, I don't know. It's just he's very streaky. I don't
Injuries. Injuries.
injuries, yes, and there are just some games he just flat out doesn't come. He doesn't show up. He's had very atrocious games that I don't know if you want to be paying him top of the market value for him. I mean, you know, can things change? Absolutely. I mean, maybe he takes a step up, but to me, I feel like Jordan Love. Hey, again, like we were saying just about the Phillies, right? There's a difference between winning in the second half of the season versus the first half of the season. Tua wins in the first half of the season. The second half of the season, he maybe gets some flashes of brilliance, but he doesn't do as well as the first half of the season. Jordan Love comes through 10-game tear into the playoffs, wins a postseason game against the
Yeah.
vaulted Cowboys. I mean, I think you can defend Jordan Love's better than Tua. Tua, I think, is a riskier contract, but time will tell. We shall see.
I mean, that's fair analysis. Jordan Love did. I still have a problem in general, as everybody knows, with the size of quarterback contracts. Do you
Well,
do
I
you know
mean,
how
that's for
far, well, do
everybody.
you know how far down the list of top paid quarterbacks you have to go to find a Super Bowl winner?
Oh, I saw this.
It's 12 spots,
Yeah.
Rich.
Uh-huh.
12 spots. There is a problem with quarterback contracts that nobody wants to admit, but the top 10 guys have 0 Super Bowl wins between them. That's a lot of starting quarterbacks in the league. Patrick Mahomes is the 12th highest paid quarterback. And then there's another big gap. So it's just,
Well, it's like we've
I
been
don't know.
saying, like if you get a quarterback in the rookie contract, that's a cheat code.
Yeah,
Brock
and
Purdy is
that's
a
how
cheat
you have to
code.
do it. That's how you have to do it. That's why San Fran so desperately wants to win so recently because they know, and that's really the next, talking point here is there's two quarterbacks that are in line to get major contract overhauls, and that is one being San Francisco's Brock Purdy and two being Dallas's Dak Prescott. So what do you do about these types of guys? One could argue that Purdy, once he gets his deal, San Fran's window might start to be on the closing side just because of the nature of that deal. So it's like how do you square that peg where it's like, okay, you give them all the money to secure them up, but then you got to trade away all the talent that helped you get there.
Well, Purdy's is pretty much cut and dry. He
Yeah.
he's going to get the
They
big
have to pay him.
contract. Yeah, he took him to the Super
It's
Bowl.
it's going to be at least 56 or 57 million dollars a year. I
Yeah,
mean, if you go by Jordan Love, who got 55, Brock Purdy, who actually made the Super Bowl, he's going to command at least 57.
yeah. So that's cut and dry. He's going to get his paycheck. There's no
Yeah.
scenario where San Francisco doesn't pay him.
They got to get rid of all those other guys then.
Well, they got to get rid of Ayuk.
Ayuk is gone. I'm surprised he's still there,
Yeah,
honestly.
yeah. They're gonna find a trade partner at some point. It may be during the season, but at some point he's gone. There's no
Yeah.
way you're gonna be able to pay him and Ayuk at the same time. So
Right.
Purdy's gonna get his payday. The more interesting case is Dak Prescott. I really
Always is every week.
and I've been saying it every week. I think the Cowboys internally are kind of hoping Dak fails, because that if he fails this year, then
They have
all
an
right,
excuse, yeah.
yeah, we'll
They're like,
wash
"Wow, we were right all along."
we'll wash our hands, and we'll go into the draft and get a rookie quarterback.
Well, what do you make of this rumor then that there's a report that the Dallas Cowboys have offered contracts to Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb behind the scenes? Nothing's official yet. Obviously, there's no numbers, there's no
No,
confirmation
they
of this,
probably
but
lowballed him.
I mean, by offering contract that could have been like, here's a sack of peanuts
Yeah,
and a coupon for McDonald's. Like a contract could be anything. This is, until we see numbers, until we see, a signature on a deal, saying that they've been offered contracts doesn't mean anything. You
yeah,
know?
no, yeah. It could be anything. I think they probably lowballed him so they could say that they tried to do something, but
But when you
no.
look at Dak and you look at these two guys that just signed their deals, Dak would have to command somewhere between 53 and 56 million dollars a year. I don't think he's worth that. I don't think Brock Purdy's worth that either. I don't think Tua's worth that. I don't think Jordan Love is worth like I can't see any quarterback being worth that much, honestly, to a team because you need 52 other guys to win. I mean, we want Nick Foles. I mean that's always going to be my argument. Is Nick Foles won a Super Bowl? Brian Johnson won a Super Bowl back in the day. Russell
Oh,
Wilson won a Super Bowl.
oh, who was the guy
Um,
on the Ravens? I always
your boy Joe Flacco,
oh yeah,
Delaware
I
Joe.
was thinking of the first
Oh,
Ravens
the
run.
the first one, yeah. I mean, history
Oh, why can't I
history
can't
is
remember his name?
I can't remember. Trent Dilfer. No,
Yes,
that's
Trent
Seahawks.
Dilfer.
No, it
There
is
you go.
Trent Dilfer. That's right.
Yep.
History of football is paved with crappy quarterbacks winning Super Bowls because of other players and positions. It's just how it goes. Tom Brady and Peyton Manning skewed the entire thing.
Yes, but I think there is something to be said about different eras now, because I do feel like
True.
the current and the future, like
It's
not
all
just
passing.
now, the
It's all
future is going to be
passing.
passing. Oh
Yeah.
yeah, they want the highlights, and passing gives you the highlight reels that you want to see.
Well, you need somebody to pass to. And wide
That too.
receivers are quickly approaching $40 million a year. How do you get somebody like a Brock Purdy at 57 and say a Brandon Ayuk at 40? That's half your salary cap.
Yep, there you go.
You got 51 other guys to pay.
Yep.
There's a problem with it, but nobody wants to admit it. And there's no way to solve it. It's just something that's going to have to continue to. That's why they want a separate salary cap for quarterbacks. It's something that they're trying to evolve to remediate. Otherwise, I don't know. You're just going to end up. I don't know. I don't know. The contracts seem too big. Like, look at any one of those four guys. You can't be like, this is the guy that's going to win the Super Bowl.
Which four
Like
guys?
the four guys that we just mentioned:
Oh,
Tua, Jordan Love, Dak Prescott, Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy's the one who came the closest, and you think he's worth 57 million? Honestly, Brock Purdy, system quarterback, who has the very best at every single position on offense.
no, but it's going to be one of those deals where if you do pull off a Super Bowl, you kind of are owed it.
Yeah.
It's it's I
I just
per
if I don't know.
yeah, I know this makes you very frustrated,
Yeah.
but
But what are you going to say about Purdy?
Purdy, I think he's the one that actually almost went the whole distance. I mean, I think he's the one you out of all those four, he deserves the money the most. I hate
Yeah.
to say it.
I hate to
Um,
say it too, but it's true.
Especially since he's been getting paid peanuts being the
Yeah.
last pick of the draft. I mean, he's literally getting
He's
nothing
like
up
owed
until his
back
career.
taxes or something.
Probably, yeah. He,
Back wages.
he gets a
Dak is the
washing machine.
least. Yeah, Dak is the least deserving, but he will get paid like the other three.
Well, I mean, that's also we want to crap all over Dallas,
I
but
guess it's a little subjective.
yeah, I will say I don't think there's have you been following this kind of logic? There's kind of these sports talk people that are saying that if Dak goes to another team, he's going to take somebody else to the Super Bowl. I don't believe that.
No,
Like
no, I don't think so.
he's a decent quarterback. He'll get you the wins that you need to get to have a good season, but during the season, he
Yeah,
doesn't have a good track record in the playoffs.
he has
He
no track record in the playoffs.
he doesn't
Almost.
he doesn't really. I mean, he doesn't really set the world on fire with his play either. I mean, I just don't know where that's coming from.
I mean, it's always possible that if he goes to the right situation with a strong running game and good supporting, a good supporting cast, maybe he takes care of the football, but I don't think that he's going to lift a team on his shoulders and propel it to the big game. If
no.
if that's the question. Like if he lands in the perfect position, maybe he can be kind of you know, the guy that captains the ship, but I don't think he's going to be like the rear admiral or the general.
Yeah, yeah. So there's been that weird narrative going on. I don't like that. But Jordan Love, I think he's the one with the biggest potential with his current team. He
I
really
think
could.
I think he did the most with the least. Of these four guys we talked about, he's done the most with the least.
Yes,
I think that says a lot about quarterback play.
yes. And I have to believe the Packers are probably going to get better because they're also one
I
of the
would assume
youngest.
so.
They're one of the
Yeah.
youngest teams. So
And
they
in
just
that
need time to
division, it's
develop.
in that division, it's just the Lions, really.
Yeah.
Minnesota's a question mark. The Bears, maybe they made some good moves, but we don't really know. It's a lot of young, unproven guys on that team. But the Packers, we know that they're capable of, going the distance deep into the playoffs and challenging, top tier teams.
Yeah. So I mean, I would think between all those four, if you wanted to ask me like which quarterback is most likely to lead their current team to a Super Bowl win, I kind of like. Well, I mean, there's also Brock Purdy because they got a
Well,
stacked roster this year. So I
yeah.
mean, I guess the answer technically is Brock Purdy, but Jordan Love, his ceiling is he's got
Yeah.
he's got unproven a lot of unproven potential that he could work with.
The brain says Brock Purdy, but the heart says Jordan Love.
Yeah, it's one of those deals. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So yeah, I mean, it is crazy all the quarterback contracts going out, but I think it's just the way it is right now, and I don't think you can do anything about it. You got to play the game,
Not until they make that separate quarterback salary cap.
which is
Dallas is
stupid.
waiting for that so they can sign Dak Prescott to a $75 million a year contract or something insane.
That is so Dallas. We want to
It
have a
is.
specific thing that only benefits us and like one other team.
They're the only team that aren't part of the collective bargaining agreement, so it makes perfect sense that they would think they could get special exemption from a regular salary cap.
Yeah, come on. Like, You're not the only team that has to deal with this.
Right.
31 other teams have to deal with a strict salary cap. You're
You
not the
should
only
be
one in
like
this
the
boat.
Eagles and sign a quarterback early so that now your quarterback is the 10th most paid instead of having to pay him the very highest salary in the league. That's how you're supposed to do it.
Right. That's how you're supposed to do it.
Right.
But hey, Dallas is Dallas. Let Jerry Jones keep Jerry Jones in.
And they can keep doing their thing. I'm in full support of their strategy.
Yeah.
As is. Don't change a single thing.
Right.
Mr. Jones.
Let that ship go right to the iceberg.
Let them cook. Let them cook.
Yeah. All right. So there you go. That is our sports sampler for this week. We're going to take a break right here, and then we're going to hit you with entertainment and odd news, an all Marvel entertainment segment, if you will, because we got a big movie review to talk about. So don't go anywhere. Catch us on the flip side on the second part of this episode of the Crispy Compact Communiqué podcast. We'll see you over there.